In this lesson, we will add a free rotation behavior to an element or group of elements as the case may be. So let's add an element, a horizontal line, utilizing this Add Horizontal Vertical Line toolbar option. Push that, and following the instructions at the bottom of the screen, left click for each endpoint. Let's have one end of this line be at the center at the origin. To find that exactly, we can enable the grid snap by pushing this button here and bringing the mouse down to the center of this layout. You can notice that the XY coordinates depicted at the bottom of the screen show 0, 0. So left click for one end of the line and drag the mouse out to the right, and left click for the other end of the line, depositing the line in the layout. I'll turn off the grid snap so that my cursor can move freely across the grid. Notice also in the tree view to the left of the layout there is a line depicted here. If I highlight that with one mouse click button and press the folder with the G on it, it puts this line in a group. I will rename this group while it's highlighted by pushing F2 and just naming it something useful such as pointer. If we press on the plus button, it expands what's below this group and shows that our line is a child of this folder called pointer. Pointer folder is where we'll put the behavior. This is a good technique so that anytime you want to add any other elements that incorporate this exact behavior, we just put them in the pointer folder. So double clicking on pointer brings up the Edit Shape dialog box. And we'll go over to the Behaviors tab and select Insert. This allows us to insert any of the behaviors. From the drop-down list, we'll click on that and select Free Rotation. Several items we have to add to make this behavior work properly is we have to have a plug, and this is a variable that this rotation behavior looks for to accomplish the behavior. So checking that, it brings up the Select Variable dialog box. If your variable has not already been created, we can do this here by pushing the Add button. Brings up the Edit Variable dialog box, and it allows us to name a variable of our choosing. Let's call it Rotate. Notice that the variable type is already a float, which is what free rotation needs for proper behavior operation. Select OK. OK again. The next thing the behavior needs is a point about which to rotate about, which is the center. If I select center with the mouse click, the dialog box goes away and it allows me to select any point on the layout where I want my rotation to be centered around. So I will choose the left center point here of this line. Once I click on that point with my left mouse button, I'll notice a blue dot indicating the center of rotation. Another thing I could choose is whether I want it to rotate clockwise or counterclockwise. I'll choose clockwise in this example. Once I hit OK, my behavior has been established on this folder pointer. So the next thing we need to do is we need to populate that variable with some type of data so that it can rotate around a unit circle, 0 to 360 degrees. So I will capture this variable and put it in the test data generator and allow my test data generator to drive that data. So to grab that variable, I will click on the variable dialog box push button here and select that rotate variable, highlight it. I'll copy it, and in this dialog box the default operation is to copy binary information for test data generator. I'll say OK, and I'll close that dialog box. I will open an instance of the test data generator. That can be accomplished from this push button here, test data generator. I click on the blank piece of paper to start a new file. Now, anytime my mouse is inside this white area, I can right-click and paste it, just like a normal Windows operation. And my rotation variable is now in the test data generator. If I double-click on that to open up the properties sheet, I'll notice that it has the name, the type of variable. It's an array of 1 in this case, and initially the value is set at 0. But let's make it so that this term is altered every frame. So from the type and the slew information, I will select low to high repeat. Low value starts at 0, we'll go up to 359.5 degrees. Initial value of 0 is okay, and the increment will be 0.5. And I say okay. Okay. Once I push the green button, then all of a sudden the rotate variable is being inserted into name memory, allowing our layout to grab that once it's ran. So I'll start that. Okay, now we're ready to run our layout. Pushing the red exclamation point to run the project. And there it is being displayed. I'll bring up test data generator again. You notice that the initial position where it was drawn is the 0 point, and it goes around in a circle 360 degrees. I close my layout, and as I mentioned before, I could add other elements, and if I want them to be incorporated in the behavior, I just make sure that they're drawn underneath the pointer folder. So I'll highlight the line so that the next element drawn will be a sibling to line, and I can just add, let's say, an arrowhead. I'll use add polyline in this case. I'll use grid snap to make them a little more precise. Okay, so I added a polyline to the pointer group that has the behavior, and I run it again, and it's added to the behavior.